So welcome back to the Bootroom Podcast. Today we have got a very special guest, but Harry Hennings is alongside you once again.
Back again for another one.
Absolutely. Henry, welcome to the show.
Cheers, thank you for having me, boys.
Absolutely. So could you please start us off then with your early days playing football? Obviously you were born in London, but you have got Kenyan descent.
Yeah, it's a very weird, not weird upbringing, but the way I got into football was very weird. I obviously had a passion for it from young, and it happened one day. My dad just took me to a park. We was literally just having a little kick around, and I saw another young boy with his dad kicking around, but he had like a little logo on it. I was thinking, okay, what's that? Must be like a team associated or just like a local club. So we got talking with the other parent, and he said, literally just sign up for my local team and see where that took me. And then that was literally the beginning, from Buckinghamshire FC to where I am now.
Wow.
So then sort of growing up with, obviously everyone starts with Grassroots Sunday. Were you sort of a standout player then for Grassroots? Obviously, to make it where you are now, you have to be sort of perhaps head and shoulders above the rest. Did you feel like that, or did you feel like you were just sort of balanced with everybody else?
Some people would say I was a standout. Yeah, I started off as a striker, as pretty much all kids do. And yeah, I was scoring goals left, right and centre. And that slowly led me to getting noticed by my, obviously, borough, and then from there, West Ham Academy.
Mm-hmm. I feel like if you're growing up in London, you're obviously exposed to more inside and outside of football. For you, do you think it helped you that you were in London, or not so much of a difference?
I think definitely so, just for the exposure of clubs that were around me. I grew up in East London, so it's West Ham, Arsenal's around the corner, Charlton. There's so many clubs that had a sort of eye on that area, so the opportunity was endless, really.
So to spend 6 years at West Ham's Academy, that's quite a while, obviously. So what was it like then being told that you were going to offer a place? Was it a phone call, an email, or was it like face-to-face?
Yeah, so I started on trial. It turned out to be, I think it was 6 weeks. And yeah, they brought my parents in and myself into a meeting, and they offered me 2 years at a time. And then subsequently after that, 2 years, until I got to about just 16, and then I got told I wasn't offered a scholar. And that's when I moved on.
Okay.
I think 16 must be the hardest time, because when you're building up towards 16, you're not really thinking about your next 2 years. Do you get what I mean? So like when you're 16 or maybe even 15, you start to think, I need to work for this contract.
Yeah, definitely so. I think because that's all I knew at that point, from the age of 8, and then obviously going through the academy at West Ham, training 2, 3, 4 times a week. That was pretty much all I knew apart from school. So gearing up to that, I just automatically assumed I would be led into a professional career, which obviously wasn't the case at that time. But yeah, people don't really see that sort of side of it, which is tough, but also it just helped me bring me to where I am now.
Sometimes though, people, when they join an academy, they think, this is it now, I'm in the academy, I'm going to make it. Did you ever sort of get complacent, or did you sort of stay grounded and thought, well, at any point I could be told the bad news, and obviously when to be told you weren't going to be offered a scholarship? How was that hard? I imagine that was a hard one to take.
Yeah, as I said, it was definitely hard, because that's all I knew at that point. I was obviously grounded. My parents kept me grounded completely, because the routes they took to come here was literally come from nothing. So it was just hard work from the get-go. So when I did get told, I was obviously disappointed, but it was on to the next thing, and that's when I found Leyton Orient.
Leyton Orient is some club. Oliver goes there quite a lot. Yeah. So what's it like to be at Leyton Orient? Obviously West Ham is the academy of football, but Leyton Orient's definitely great. It's still a good opportunity.
Definitely so. Obviously it's well known in East London and around London for just the stature of the club and the history of it. So being involved in that from 16 up until making my first team debut was just a dream come true, really. Just to see someone else giving me an opportunity to showcase my talents. So I'm truly grateful for that club and everyone there.
What's it like then to be told you're going to be making your senior debut? When the lineup comes out, are you told? It's an hour in advance usually, isn't it? I
remember getting the call. It was a Friday. We'd get training, and then obviously the squad list comes out, and then I'm walking past. I'm thinking, wait, is that my name? It's like, yeah. So, that came up, and then obviously we travelled with the squad, warming up. There was no actual intel of whether I was going to make my debut or come on or even just be on the bench. So it was pretty nervy for me just being there anyway. But to get the call saying, go warm up, get changed, you're coming on, was just surreal, really. Seems like yesterday still, because it's still on my mind, yeah.
Absolutely, but when you're getting into this squad list, and obviously all the players have very similar reactions unless you're week in, week out starting. So what was your immediate reaction? Did you tell your family first, or...?
Yeah, I got on the phone straight to my dad just to tell him, and he couldn't believe it as well. It was just the sheer excitement of from where we started to where we are now in the space of less than 8 years was insane. So it was a very proud moment for myself and my family. Yeah.
Well, obviously, then you spent 2 years there, and then you made your appearance as a late substitute against Brighton, 1-0 loss in the under-23s.
Yeah.
But obviously, that's quite narrow, isn't it, for Leyton Orient and Brighton? So did you feel like you stayed in the game quite well in that game up until the point when you conceded?
Yeah, we did. Especially some of the players that we were up against, like Solly Marsh, obviously everyone knows, who played at a game. We were very close to actually getting something from that game, which was just showed what our club, like the players that I was playing with, were possible of, despite our sort of financial size compared to Brighton. We had the players that could compete at that high level.
Could you explain to us what the EFL trophy is? Because for some people, Carabao Cup and all that sort of stuff gets confusing.
No, it's confusing. I can imagine someone that has never obviously played football, understood football, like, it is difficult. So the EFL Cup gives an opportunity for other clubs in the lower league, EFL, play against Premier League teams. They normally field out their under-23s or development squads, so that's what it is basically. Yeah.
Good opportunity, right?
Yeah, definitely
100%,
so.
yeah.
Definitely so.
Then similar to West Ham, then was it again? I imagine it's again very, very tough to take when you found out that you won't be carrying on with Leyton Orient. So when you found out that you'll be released, how was that? Is it face to face? I imagine.
Yeah, face to face again. Obviously, new management comes in. Not everyone has the same opinions as the previous manager, so it's a business in the end. And I understood that I was old enough, I was mature enough to sort of take it on the chin. But I knew my qualities, I knew where my abilities could take me. So it was just thank you very much for the time, and we'll part ways here. Yeah.
So Crawley would have been a huge occasion, substitute appearance. What's it like in the build-up to that game? Obviously, you said that you got called up, as we know. In the hotel, are you playing PlayStation? What goes on in the hotel?
No, it's just normal, but it's normal routines. The same I was doing it from under 16s to first team. I've had the same routine, really. Nothing's changed. Obviously, the boys have different routines, sort of things they do, whether it's take a nap, play on the phone, as you know, watch films. So for me, it's be as chilled as possible, just relax and preserve my energy.
What were the facilities like in the academy? Was there sort of was one better than the other, West Ham, Leyton Orient, or were they just quite similar?
I think obviously, as you can understand, the financial difference in both the clubs. West Ham obviously we had 2 training grounds at that time, building 3. So we had Rush Green, Little Heath, and Chadwell Heath, and then obviously West Ham we only had the one, which was at Old Tregwellians. Both equipped with what you needed to be a footballer. It doesn't matter what was there or the pitches were like, but it was what we needed. It didn't really matter what other teams looked like, really. It was just how we adapted to what we had.
When you were at Leyton Orient, what was the best moment next? To play in League Two, I think, is everyone's dream, to play in the professional game.
Best moment? Ooh, that's a hard one. Personally or as a whole? Personally, yeah. I think still making my debut. It's just a surreal moment from where I came from to where I was at that time was just a dream come true.
When you get told to warm up, like when the manager says, go warm up, Henry, what do you think? Do you think you don't want to pull your hamstring here? That's the worst time.
Yeah, no, loads of things are going through your head. It's really how can you impact the game, because you're sitting there watching it for 70, 60 minutes. You're seeing how you can affect the game, seeing your opponents, and you just want to come on and show what you can do in a short space of time.
What was your best moment then, in general as a whole? So not just yourself, obviously you just spoke about that, but what was your best moment with the team then?
With the team, I think it wasn't so much on the pitch, it was just off the pitch. We were such a tight-knit group, loads of experience compared with the younger lads as well. Obviously, we see each other every day, so it was just that camaraderie, that friendship, that brotherhood that we had, which obviously some of us still have today, which we speak about,
You were in non-league for a few years. There's a few clubs there like Braintree. Yeah. And we'll speak about all of them in their own individual ways, but why was Braintree appealing for you? Because they're quite a big club in non-league. Yeah,
no, obviously I'm from that way, Essex sides. When they got in contact, it was kind of not a no-brainer, but it was a very appealing perspective to go and play for them. Although it didn't work out as how I wanted to be, it was just a platform for me to get back playing again and loving the game. That's why I took that opportunity.
And then, am I right to think that Welwyn Garden City was after that?
Yeah, that was just after when I sort of had a blip in my kind of, not love for the football, but just being involved in it. I took a bit of time out and then I went back into it, and Welwyn Garden City, after that manager I knew, just told me, come play, just come enjoy the last 5-10 games there was, and that's when I fell back in love with it, really, yeah.
I think non-league is just mental. So obviously you have the non-league, which is like where Barnet just got promoted from and where you play currently. But then when you go below that, I think that's even more interesting. You've got like so many divisions of people that are literally semi-pro, balancing a job of being like an electrician and football. So what was it like to drop down to play in Welling?
Very difficult, very difficult. As you know, being full-time, obviously in the EFL and even some national teams now, that's all you know. It's football pretty much every day, 5-6 times a week. You go home. You can do whatever you want after that. Whereas in non-league, the majority of clubs are part-time, so you either train Tuesday, Thursday evenings, and then you have a job the rest of the days. So dropping out and having to obviously navigate my way around not being full-time was very difficult. But obviously my ambitions were ultimately to get back to full-time, so I kind of kept that schedule of training full-time and being sort of professional as I could, yeah.
Growing up then, did you balance your schoolwork around the football, or was it just football? Because obviously a lot of players would only just focus on the football side and they find it hard to balance around the studies. So, and you know, like, will your parents sort of say you have to focus your school as well?
Yeah, no, luckily my parents were very supportive. They understood obviously my dream and that they saw that I was good enough to actually reach it. So they did help me balance football and education, obviously, because nothing's ever guaranteed. So obviously my mum pushed that side really. She made sure I'd done my education to the highest level I could, which is obviously helping me today to this point, and will obviously help me past my retirement in football. Yeah.
Well, the club that came up next was obviously Wingate and Finchley.
Yeah.
Again, one of those levels that we're sort of talking about, semi-pro, right, for the most part. What was that like again, it's another sort of experience. Did you feel like, although you started off losing love of the game, and then now you're balancing the books in between semi-pro football, did you ever think that perhaps you weren't going to make it back to pro level?
No, I never thought that I would make it. I mean, I never thought that I wouldn't make it back there. My ambition was always to get back there, and I dedicated pretty much those few years to doing it. So everything I did led to being a professional footballer again, whether that be the training, football, eating, everything, just dedicated towards that goal.
And then you did score as well for Wingate and Finchley. What sort of goal was it? Do you remember?
All I can remember, I love taking long shots, so it was probably a long shot, I'll be honest with you.
And then obviously the relief, I imagine, to score as well. Celebration.
No, I'm quite chilled when I celebrate.
You seem very chilled.
Yeah. I'm laid back, so I'm just like, it's just another day, another job.
It's just a goal.
Just a goal.
I can imagine there would have been a time where you were just there doing your thing,
chilling,
and people are jumping on you. You just scored a belter. Does that happen a lot?
Yeah, it happens a lot. Well, in training, not so much in matches, but
yeah, I can imagine. So Cork City, wow, big club in Ireland. How did that move come about?
So one of my previous managers at Leyton Orient got in contact with me, Neil Fenn. He just became the manager there, and obviously he wanted to integrate some of the Irish lads with some of the abroad lads from London, England. He obviously came to me with a proposal, and it just seemed so appealing to me to play for such a huge club, not just in obviously Ireland, but known around Europe as well. So obviously I jumped at the idea, and I headed out there just before COVID, luckily, and I had a handful of games out there, which was a great experience.
Off the pitch, though, what it's like to move from London to obviously Ireland? Was it difficult? Did you feel a bit homesick, or did you feel at home at Cork?
Not so much, because I was more so dedicated on the job at hand. It was just focusing on playing football, really. Not so much the home life. Luckily, I have a great support system around me, so they were all supportive in that move. But on the pitch and off the pitch, it was pretty the same as moving to London, or staying in London.
Okay.
I remember hearing about someone who was playing in the League of Ireland, and they were saying the games got called off quite a lot because the pitches aren't brilliant out there.
Yeah, not just that, but obviously the weather. Everyone knows the weather out there ain't the greatest or the sunniest. But they did get called off quite a lot, and they were rescheduled, which was obviously difficult to manage your schedules around life in general. So yeah.
And it's quite a big moment, obviously. Now, Jamie is quite a big fan of Watford.
Yeah, I do say so myself.
Quite local to Watford as well. So to sign a short-term deal with them then, under 23s, it's quite a big moment for you. Obviously, Watford's a very, very big club.
Yeah,
very big club.
As you would say, those senior appearances made, but I imagine it's still an experience and a half to be with Watford.
Yeah, great experience. Towards the end, I was based with the first team, training with them a lot, which was obviously immense just to see these kind of players that you normally just see on TV. It was just training-wise, the facilities-wise, everything was just done professionally, which is I can speak very highly of that club, definitely.
Good to hear. So they can sign me up in a few years. So what's it like to be at Watford? Because obviously you've got the dome there. The facilities are very good, especially for Championship level. But at the time, they would have been Premier League. Is that right?
Championship and Premier League.
Okay,
So it was just over the thing. Yeah.
That time,
No, great facilities. The people there were great. Everything was just done correctly. That's all I can ever ask for in a club. And luckily that year they got promoted back into the Premier League, which was...
Were you involved in the celebrations?
Well, yeah, somewhat. Yeah. No, but the team as a whole, first teamers, even the 23s, had a big part in obviously that promotion for the club, which is obviously great for me to be a part of.
Can we just focus on Watford? Because I'm so keen to know about all these people. Yeah. But just in general, because obviously a lot of teams have under 23 teams and under 21 teams. From my perspective, speaking to footballers, a lot of them say it's not really too much. It's like they're trying to keep the players in football that perhaps shouldn't be at the top level just yet. Like, do you agree with the under 23 system?
Yes and no. I think obviously the idea of under 23s or under 21 system is like bridging that gap between obviously youth team to the first team, because some people are late developers, as we know. Some people don't hit their actual physical peak and just mental peak till they're 21, 22, 23. I think that does help them develop, maybe go out on loan, play senior football while still being in a professional first team environment. At the same time, I think there are some that deserve it straight to the first team. So sometimes that does inhibit them reaching their full potential earlier than they would have. Yeah.
And after that, it was back to English non-league. So Chelmsford, Aldershot, those sort of clubs. You, if I'm right in saying you were at Chelmsford, then moved to Aldershot, then back to Chelmsford again.
Yeah.
So the second time of joining, was that sort of, I felt like home there, I want to go back, or was it just another offer?
Yeah, no, I can't speak highly enough again of Chelmsford. The manager there, Robbie Simpson, as well.
We interviewed him, actually.
Yeah.
I saw him the other day.
He would be a very good guy to interview.
We did.
No, we have.
Oh, you have?
Okay, he's come on before.
Yeah, no, he's an amazing guy. One of the good guys in football, definitely so. He obviously called me straight after he found out I was leaving Aldershot and just said, would you love to come back? And I was like, yeah, definitely so. I knew the club, I knew everyone there. It was just a perfect fit for me at the time, yeah.
He's a legend, by the way. As I said, I literally saw him in town the other day and he was like, how are you? Yeah. Really nice guy. Really good. I'm sorry to go back, but I want to say something about Watford again.
Yeah, no worries.
Some of the best players I've ever seen at Watford have been João Pedro, Chucho Hernandez. Yeah. But you've also got like celebrities, if you like Deeney, Foster. Yeah. What was it like to be around these guys, and who was the nicest person in that Watford dressing room?
I think for me, Will Hughes was probably one I looked up to. Just the way he handled himself, his decor on and off the pitch was just everything I wanted to be as well, and epitomised being just a professional. He was just so chilled, like on the ball, like he you could never get the ball off him, which was obviously someone I admired. And then off the pitch, he was basically like another captain. So it was someone I very much looked up to.
That team was incredible.
Yeah,
literally,
it was
Ismail Assar and all these.
Yeah.
But just quickly, how many managers did they go through at that time?
3, I believe. Yeah.
That's got to change because it's happened this season as well.
Yeah. But they're big names that you've been with. Like, that's quite an achievement, and that's quite a sort of calibre to come on here, speak to us, and say you've been in the dressing room with Will Hughes, who's now at Crystal Palace, who's won the FA Cup now.
Yeah.
So would you feel like, looking back when you were growing up, and that you've definitely achieved something by sharing a dressing room with those sort of icons?
Yeah, definitely so. Obviously, we know the statistics of players making it professional. Just so me being one of that, and then playing with those kind of players is enough for me. Obviously, I want to go reach higher, but I can obviously tell my kids, my grandkids, I've played with these kind of players, yeah.
Slough up next is obviously where you are now. What was that like to move to them at the time? Because I think, again, these clubs are very big in the non-league system.
Yeah, no, again, the manager, Scott Davies, can't speak high enough of him. Another one you should get on here. He obviously gave me a ring, proposed it to me, and I thought at the time, with the circumstances at Chelmsford, I thought it was time for me to obviously try a new challenge, which I did, and it's obviously helped in my favour. Having obviously a good season last year, we're obviously hoping to have another one this year as well.
Seems like you've had quite a time at Slough as well, winning quite a few awards. So you've won Players Player, Managers Player, Supporters Trust Player, and then now you've been named captain ahead of next campaign. So that must be quite an honour.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely so. I never saw myself as a captain, but Scotty has obviously drilled it into me, saying he thinks I have the attributes to be one. So I'm very honoured for that, and obviously I'm looking forward to this new season. Yeah.
What is the ambition going into this season?
Well, for anyone, it's just being the best we can, like with the squad we have, and achieving better than we did last year. I think that's where we're looking at, and we're building towards that as obviously we started pre-season now. So. Yeah.
Right, and then if we talk about Kenya, obviously we said that you were called up to the senior squad, but then the game was eventually cancelled. So that must have been quite frustrating for you, thinking that you might get an opportunity, but then with a click of a finger, it's gone.
Yeah, it was a difficult moment. Obviously, being called up, anyone that can represent their country, it would definitely be an honour. So to find out that I was going to travel and play was just surreal again on another level. Obviously, I went out there, the game got cancelled. But luckily, the under-23s were still playing at the time, so they asked if I wanted to play, and I was like, yeah, definitely so, which was still a great experience.
Against Mauritius, was it?
Mauritius, yeah. Mauritius, and yeah, it was a very good win as well, so yeah.
In terms of being in Kenya, because obviously, as I spoke to you when we were coming here, there's a lot of people that do work in Kenya. I'm privileged enough to be able to do that with these guys' support. But what's it like to go to Kenya? And obviously there is poverty there, but there's a lot of potential for footballers across Africa and across Asia and across the world. But specifically on Kenya, what do you see in terms of that?
Well, it's as we said before, it's just down to opportunities and the scope you're in. I'm sure that we could probably go there and find just as talented footballers as there are.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, it is a very big shame. And that's why there are a lot of campaigns trying to get not just Kenyan athletes, but African athletes across to Europe just for that exposure, which is obviously something I support as well.
Because when we think of players like Victor Wanyama, who grew up in Kenya, and he was unbelievable at Spurs, obviously, with Pochettino and stuff, but it's the sort of thing where it's frustrating. There's so many hidden gems out there that may never make it, but they're so talented that you think maybe perhaps we should do more to, raise them, and everybody needs to be aware of that sort of
definitely
talent.
definitely so. And that's why campaigns are out there just supporting sort of poverty countries are helping athletes, not just in football, but across, obviously, sports, reach their full potential and be exposed to on the worldwide stage.
When you mentioned that you left Chelmsford, obviously you said it was hard to say goodbye to Robbie. What is it like to leave a club? Do you go in the changing room, say, lads, I'm leaving? Like, what's that process like?
Well, it really depends on the situation you're in and at what point of the season you're in. So obviously at the end of the season, it was still in negotiations with Chelmsford, but we just couldn't reach a mutual sort of understanding. So it was just best to part ways. We obviously have a group chat, so everyone gets to say goodbye in a group chat, and other people around the club. So it's pretty straightforward, really. It's no hidden things,
There's ever any sort of bitterness, is there, within the changing room? Have you ever experienced a sort of bitterness, or has it always been pretty relaxed? And
personally, or just in general?
Personally.
No, never. I think, obviously, if my time's up at a club, and we just move to the next thing. There's no point holding grudges or anything, Okay.
Last season you finished, or the season just gone, you finished in the lower half of the table. So the improvements for that would obviously be to potentially finish in the top half, and then if you're on a brilliant run, potentially the P word, the playoffs. Is that achievable this season? Like, in terms of transfers and people that are coming in, is the vibe good for this season?
I think definitely so. We've got a very good squad this year.
Don't need a striker. So do you.
Yeah. No, definitely so. I think we can definitely build on it. We've obviously started off very well last year, and we can learn from our mistakes as usual. It's a very long season, so we know where we can improve, and we know where our strengths are as well. So I'm very confident in improving in our season.
Looking ahead, am I right to think you're playing Brentford in the friendly soon, coming up? That's not going to be the first team, though, is it?
I believe it's their Brentford B, but we don't know, obviously, what they've filled out.
Okay.
They may field out a few first-teamers.
By the way, that's still going to be quite something, isn't it?
Yeah,
obviously
definitely
they've got quite a few good B team players, for sure.
Yeah.
Kenya. So if you're going to get called up to this amazing Kenya side that perhaps, I guess we spoke about before, doesn't get enough praise and credentials, obviously AFCON is coming up. I don't believe Kenya qualified.
2027 one, they're hosting, so they have qualified,
Oh, but the one that's coming up isn't there one coming up in December? For January?
Yeah. So they haven't qualified for this one, but the year after.
So,
the next one after,
So is it every 4 years, but it happens back-to-back years?
Yeah, 2 years, but I think they're changing it now to be every 4 years.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're hosting that one. That is really good potential for you, right?
Yeah, massive. So obviously I'm trying to do everything I can to get into that squad, really. Yeah.
And what's the contact like between you and the guys over in Kenya?
Well, if you get called up, it's usually them contacting your club and obviously discussing to release them to go to international. So that's how the process really works, yeah.
If you were then to be called up, I imagine that would probably be the proudest moment of your career so far.
Yeah, definitely so. Representing your country, as I said, there's no bigger honour. So that's something I'm hoping to look forward to again.
Hopefully. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, cheers.
Absolutely. And maybe you might be there. You never know.
Yeah,
come out and watch it, yeah.
Ballers League has been quite an interesting thing. I've watched some bits, but it's caught my eye in terms of on social media. I do find it a bit hard to sort of sit down and watch it. I don't quite know why. So what's it been like to be called up to that? Because it's quite a new idea, and how did you get the call up for that?
I think it is a very new idea. It's obviously caught the eye of a lot of people, maybe the younger generation, but it is a great idea just to sort of freshen up football, really, for the younger
And it keeps you
generation.
fit as well.
Yeah. It was a great experience, and I'm sure they'll come back in season 2 definitely again.
When is that?
I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I'm not too sure. Yeah.
I saw some highlights of it, and Moussa Dembele. It seems like he's still got it because he was unbelievable. He's so many footballers say he was one of the best midfielders to ever play in the Premier League, and as a Spurs fan, I would agree. I think he is. Did you ever come close to playing with him, or were you not involved in the same?
No, not in that one. No,
okay.
but obviously we saw that match. You could just see his quality oozing out of him. Yeah, he doesn't lose it.
He doesn't lose it at all, does he? No.
Who actually contacted you to do this?
One of the production team said, do you want to get involved? And I was like, yeah, definitely so. He obviously pitched it to me. I understood the project that they were trying to build. And as it was the end of the season, I thought it was just a perfect fit just to see how it'd go, really, yeah.
You said, obviously, you were allowed to go. So it's nice, obviously, Slough Town to allow you to go and do that, because some clubs may be more strict with it and say, you've got to stay with the club. No, obviously, other teams you can play for. So I guess it was nice of them to let you go.
Yeah, definitely so, and I'm thankful for their obviously gratitude for me going as well. So I've got to give them their praises there. Yeah.
There's a lot of celebrities. You must be like constantly looking around to see who's around you. I mean.
No, definitely so, because as you know, the exposure it had attracted a lot of celebrities, not just from obviously UK but abroad, like Will Smith, for example. So seeing them in the flesh was surreal. As obviously growing up, just watching his films, his music. So seeing him in the flesh was unbelievable.
Obviously, it's still a game of football, but it's very different to normal football, isn't it? It's not 11-a-side or anything.
Yeah.
So is it a little bit strange to be playing on a tiny pitch? Obviously, it's 6-a-side or whatever it is. Is it different compared to Slough Town?
Yeah, definitely so. But at the same time, it's just like a kick around with your mates at Power League or goals or whatever. But just with the production team in the background.
Do they have an impact on what goes on?
Not so much. Obviously, during the game changes, obviously before the match, after the match, they had obviously interviews, processes that they had to go through. But other than that, it was just letting us play football, really.
Angry Ginge was obviously the gaffer.
Yeah.
What's he like as a character? Because I've heard he's a very humble guy, but he is quite a character.
Yeah, massively humble guy. For someone with his exposure and stature and status, he is very humble. He's taken us out for meals, just been very friendly in the whole process, which is a gratitude to him as well.
So last one from me then. As a young kid, I asked this to a lot of the guests that come on. Would you say that you've sort of not made it as such, but would you, looking back on as a child and see where you come to now, would you say that you're proud of what you've achieved so far, or would you anything that you'd like to achieve still?
Yeah, well, both. Obviously, it's still a long way to go. 26, there's still hopefully another 10 years plus of playing football. So I would like to think that I have a lot more left in me to grow and progress in my career. But at the same time, I am grateful for where I've started and where I've got to now, definitely.
This is going to be a bit of an obscure way for me to word this.
Yeah.
So apart from promotion or like your team, on a personal level, or as in like your teammates, what would you want to achieve this season aside from promotion?
On a personal level, just development from last year. Obviously, you've said I've won a few accolades last year. I think for me, it's just progressing on that. Maybe adding a few more goals, assists into my own game. Yeah, really, that's where I want to head to. Yeah.
And penalty technique? Do you have a penalty technique?
I'm a one-step man, so
okay,
one step.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's nice.
So if you ever get to see that, you'll be surprised. Yeah.
We're going to come for sure.
Yeah.
For me, I like to have a big far run out.
You're doing that in sports all downstairs, aren't you?
What's your run up?
2-3 steps.
2-3 steps.
One
yeah,
step.
Yeah,
But I've been
step.
practicing the Tony recently.
Tony one, yeah. Difficult.
Just maintain
Difficult,
eye
isn't it?
contact
Yeah,
with the
very
keeper. Difficult because
Yeah.
obviously you've no idea where the ball is.
Yeah.
Well, if I was manager, I'd put you on the penalty.
Well,
You're too composed.
You've got to tell Scotty for that one.
Henry, we really appreciate it. We always end on here with a handshake.
Yeah.
So the camera's there, so if you want to bring it in.
Cheers. Thank you, boys.
Harry, appreciate that.
Jamie, thank you.
Harry.
Across the table.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
Thank you.